Wednesday, July the 10th. Sorry about no fishing report last week, but I was out on the lake like everybody else. We had family reunion, so we took the week off. And we need to thank the people at Lazy Lee's Resort there on Table Rock Lake. We had 38 or 39 of us, and they put up with us all week. And great accommodations, and everything worked out great. So, I mean, if you got a bass club that's wanting to host tournament, it's a great place to do it. They're right there on the water, plenty of dock space. But as far as the lake level's about the same as it was since I did my last report. It's about 916 and a half. They haven't been generating much water. A little bit of water they've been moving has been in the middle of the night, so there hadn't been much water flow. And last week was gorgeous. I mean, it never got much over 80 degrees, and there was several mornings it was pretty cold. Now this week, summer finally got here, and it's been pretty hot. And like this morning, water temperature was about 83 degrees when I put in. And depends where you're at. I've been up in the river the last few days, up in the James River, and it'll get up 86, 87 degrees. We get further up, may even get a little warmer. But I've been catching fish, lots of different ways. Actually, really had a really good day today. We fished around Kimberling area and caught some pretty decent fish on a football jig, and I was surprised they weren't really that deep. They was probably 18 to 22 foot deep, mostly on main lake points. We had I think 4 fish over 3.5 pounds, which the way the weights have been, that's really good. It's been hard to catch big fish. And when I've been up in the river the last few days, we've been catching a ton of fish up there, but you got to go through a lot of fish to catch a keeper. And the keeper's been coming out of brush piles. A lot of the ones that the Department of Conservation has set holding fish. And up there, the fish don't seem like they're all that deep. And I don't believe the thermocline's that deep up in the James. A lot of the drop shot fish I've been catching up there only been about 18 to 22 feet. And most of the jig fish that are coming out of the brush piles are about 20 foot deep. But it seems like the key up there is I got to be close to deep water with a football jig. The drop shot fish are pretty much all on the main lake flat points. Sometimes you got to hit several points to find a point that's got them, but once you find them, you'll find several of them. And I've been catching them on a variety of different worms. Little chompers, the brown purple laminated has been working real good. Robo worms have worked good. Got another one that Chompers makes. It's a plum. And I've got a buddy that's doing a bunch of hand pours for me. His are working real well. A Zoom, just a 4-inch finesse worm. Watermelon candy will work. This is a little hand pour. It's a green pumpkin with a little purple in it. It's working real well. But, like I say, on the drop shot fish down lake, once you get out of the James River arm, they seem to be a little bit better quality, and they're a little bit deeper. They're 32, some as deep as 38 foot, and they're on bluff ends, long flat points, and also if you can find the conservation brush piles around 35 foot, there's several fish hanging around them. And it's kind of like up in the James, any place you get one bite out of them brush piles, you usually get several. Now, as far as top water, there's still a lot of fish surfacing, but I've actually been catching more and a little bit better fish when they're coming up on top. I've been catching them on a spoon. The ones I've been catching, that I have been catching when they're up on top, are just the small fish. It seems like if I take a 3/4 ounce spoon, cast it in the area where the fish are busting shad, and let it go down about 10 to 12 feet, and just yo-yo it back, real aggressively, we've been catching a few better fish. And the spoon's also been working around a lot of the deep docks. They seem like you got to have at least 30 to 40 feet out at the ends of the docks. Now, football jigs, like today we caught fish on all different colors. Most of them are greens and browns. This one here was a green pumpkin with a little purple in it, and I'm throwing a 5/8 or 3/4 ounce pig sticker. And I'm using a Zoom speed craw for a trailer, but you can use a twin-tail chompers, a 4 or 5 inch. Seems like I'm using the full trailer. Normally I take a little off the speed craw, but I've been using a little bigger baits, a little bigger profile. As the water gets warmer, the fish's appetite gets a little bigger, and actually everything in the lake, this time of year, the crawdads are getting a little bigger. But I've noticed a lot of the fish that are spitting crawdads, there's a lot of orange and red in them. So green pumpkin with orange has been working good, and a lot of my trailers I try to have like a watermelon with some red flake has been working well. And I've been catching some fish on a big worm, not so much just up in the James, but around the mid-lake area as well. And a lot of the way I've been fishing the big worm, and this is a Zoom Magnum finesse worm, a watermelon candy, and I've got it on what they call a pig rig, and it's a pig sticker deal. It's like a football head, and it's got a split ring with a hook in it. It's kind of the same thing as Gene LaRue's got the Biffle hard head. It's the same principle. And I've been throwing a ½ ounce and a 5/8. But what's good about it is you can throw any kind of plastic bait on it. You can throw a brush hog on it. I've been throwing a 10-inch worm, like I said, quite a bit. Instead of Texas rigging it with a bullet weight, I've been working it on this pig rig. I can keep it down there on the bottom, cover a lot more water with it. And, that's a watermelon candy on my big worm. Another color that's been working good too is a tequila sunrise or a red shad or a plum. Now I've been fishing it the same place I've been fishing the football jig. Now as far as the number of bites, I'm not getting as many bites on the football jig or the big worm, but the bites are better quality. But they're few and far between. Some of them are coming on brush, some of them are coming more on rock transitions. And like I say, that I think now that they're not moving much water and it's getting hotter, that thermocline on the main lake is going to get deeper and deeper. I haven't seen it on my electronics yet. I haven't picked it up, but if you talk to somebody that dives, they could tell you exactly what depth it is. But I know up in the river it's shallower because it's not as much, you don't have the water depth up there. And now with the water flow, with them not hardly generating any water, that will also help establish that thermocline. And like I say, as it gets warmer, the thermocline should get deeper. So a lot of these fish I'm catching on the football jig should start to get deeper and deeper as that thermocline gets on down. Now as far as a crankbait, a deep diving crankbait like a Strike King Series 6 or Fat Free Shad, when we've been catching fish up in the river arms, I haven't really got that crankbait bite to work real well. I'll throw it once we start catching them on a jig or a big worm, and I still can't catch very many fish on it. But the ones I do catch are better quality. That bite up there on them ledges and drops never really has set up real good yet. It may now that water's getting hotter. But a bite to look for is try going, a lot further up in the river arms. Even when that water gets 85, almost close to 90 degrees, you'd be surprised, especially if you've got a little water flow late in the day is when they've been starting the generators up, how shallow you can catch some of them fish on square bills, like a 1.5, Balsa B or a little bandit, and even flipping the laydowns and stuff up there. See, with the lake level still 1.5 feet high, there's a lot of cover up in the, in the ends of the river arms, like Flat Creek, the James River, the Upper Kings, Upper Longs. And that's something I'm going to try to do next week, so hopefully, we can get into that and talk about that a little bit. But until then, good luck and good fishing.